guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is about herringbone stitch. I am very excited about this tutorial because I think you will like it too. This is a handbag that I had in my mind for a very long time, and I finally got my ice yarns, and so I started to do this project. I'm going to show you step by step how to tackle this pattern. I will drop the pattern for now in the description box, but later on I'm going to post this pattern on my website. So if you are watching this from the future, my pattern is already there, and if you are new around here, I hope you are considering to subscribe, and if you are already an old subscriber, I hope this is the kind of pattern that you will consider making. I would love to see your creation, so tag me on my social media, Instagram, Facebook. I would love to see how you have done this handbag. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into this tutorial. Okay guys, I am going to work finally with some ice yarns, and I will drop the link in the description box. I ordered some macram cord, and this is worked with a 4mm hook, and also I'm going to work with a 4mm hook. So let's just get into this. I'm going to start with a chain of 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 19 and 20. Okay, chain of 20, and then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, insert in the third stitch, insert the hook in the chain number 3. So 1, 2, 3, and I will do 1 single crochet here, and I will put a marker just to know that this is the first stitch. Okay, I will need 2 here because I'm going to use this space here for increases. Okay, now we are going to start and do the herringbone stitch, which is, we have 2 loops here, 1, 2, insert the hook in the second loop, insert the hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, we have 3 loops, and then pull through all the 3 loops. We are going to crochet the herringbone stitch now. Now we have, this is the second stitch, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 loops. I will insert in loop number 3, 1, 2, 3 in loop number 3, and then I will insert in the next stitch the hook, pull up a loop, and then yarn under and pull all the 3 loops, and I will continue to do this until I arrive at the end. Okay, as you can see, I arrived at the end, and together with this stitch over here, I have 18 stitches. Okay, so at the last stitch over here, at the last stitch, I am going to do in the same stitch 3 more herringbone stitches. I'm gonna do actually 4 increases, which means that at the 18th stitch I will have 4 stitches in 1 stitch. Okay, so I will keep this 17 stitches, and then at the 18th I will do 4 stitches. One I already did. I'm gonna do another 3 in the same stitch. 2, 3, 4. I am going to put a marker at the first stitch of the increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This shows where is the starting of the 4 increases. Okay, we will need this. So we will keep 17 stitches in the center, and then 4 stitches here for increases, which we will continue to do increases over the rounds. Now we will work on this side of the chain stitch. So now we are going to do herringbone stitch. Okay, and we will insert the hook at the next stitch. Okay, so here we have 1, 2. Okay, so the next stitch is here. So I will crochet 1 herringbone stitch here.
Okay, so from here where I did this herringbone stitch until here, we will have 17 herringbone stitches. Okay, in the middle, in the center, we will keep 17 herringbone stitches. So 1, and then continue crocheting herringbone stitches for all the stitches one by one. Okay, I will continue until I have, from the first stitch here until here, 17 herringbone stitches. Okay guys, here it is. So in total until now I have 17 stitches up to here, 4 stitches in the side, and 70 stitches until the end. And now I'm going to crochet 4 increases, which I will do them right here at this edge. That's why I left 2 chain stitches here. So I will insert the hook in the loop number 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I will insert the hook right here where I have this space. Find your space there and then pull up a loop. So we have 1 increase, again another stitch there, half herringbone stitch, so the second increase, again in the same stitch, third increase, and the fourth increase with herringbone stitch. If you want, you can put a marker at the first stitch of the increase here. I'm not gonna, but you can. Okay, so now we are going to work in herringbone stitch in rounds. So I am going to work this way because I want to turn this way. I have to first connect this end with the beginning. So I'm gonna insert the hook right here where I have the first stitch, grab the first stitch, and I will do a slip stitch here. Okay, I will do a slip stitch, but be careful because this is like the 5th stitch, which means that this stitch is more, okay, is because the 4th one was here. So we did this slip stitch here, so we have 1 more stitch, we added 1 stitch, which means that this stitch now belongs to this one. So I will do 1 chain, turn your work like this. So now I'm going to do the return row of the herringbone stitch. So I will turn my work like this. This stitch over here is actually the first stitch here. So we are not going to do any increase. I will keep the yarn in the front. So I'm going to insert the hook from the back to the front, from the back to the front. And I will pull up a loop and then 1 single crochet. Okay, so I will take out the marker and I will put it here because actually this is the first stitch of the 17 stitches here because I did the slip stitch. So you have to be careful with this style because you have to keep counting and keep the stitches. Okay, so this is the beginning of the 17 stitches, not the beginning of the increases. Okay, so now we are going to do this pattern working from the back to the front. Okay, this is the return row. So now the pattern for the next 4 stitches is going to be on each stitch 1 increase, which means that on 1 stitch I'm going to do 2 herringbone stitches. So I will now how I'm gonna work is like this. Insert the hook in, we have 2 loops here, 1, 2. I will insert in the second one, and also I will insert in the next stitch. If you can see here, we have front loop, back loop, and also we have this at the back. Okay, so we're gonna insert the hook, front loop, back loop, front loop, also this one here in the back. I don't know how to call that. So I will keep the yarn in the front and will insert from the back to the front through all these 3 loops. Okay, and then I will yarn over, pull through, and I have 3 loops and yarn under here over and pull through the 3 loops. Okay, in the same place I'm going to do another herringbone stitch. So I have 1, 2, 3. I will insert loop number 3, the hook again in the same place, where in the same stitch, and pull through and herringbone stitch. Okay, so now in one stitch I did 2 herringbone stitches, and again for the next 3 stitches I'm going to continue the same, 1 stitch, 2 herringbone stitches. So we will do 4 increases. So here one more time, 1, 2, 3, and one more time, 1, 2, 3, so I will continue to do 2 more increases because I am left with another 2 stitches for the first 4 increases that I did. Okay, you guys, here it is. So I have already did all the increases here. So at the edge here I'm gonna have now 8 herringbone stitches. Okay, so until now I have done 9 because this I did also the first one of this row of the center stitches. So this is how it is going to look in the front. This is the front and this is the back. So I'm going to continue now working on each stitch 1 herringbone stitch for the next 17 stitches. Okay, and these are the center stitches, and then in here for 4 stitches we're just going to do again the same that we did here. We're going to do on each stitch 1 increase. So let's continue crocheting 17 herringbone stitches. Okay, you guys, I finished 17 stitches from here to here. I finished the center stitches. So now I have 4 stitches left here. In these 4 stitches, I'm gonna do increases, same as I did on this side. So, which means that on each stitch, I'm gonna do 2 herringbone stitches. 1 herringbone stitch and again another one in the same stitch. So I did 2 herringbone stitches in 1 stitch. I will follow the same pattern until I arrive at this stitch for the next 3 stitches. Okay, and here we are. I finished also the increases in this side, and now I will continue crocheting 1 herringbone stitch on each stitch for the next 16 stitches. Remember, we have 1 stitch here for the center stitches. Okay, so from here until together with this one there are going to be 17. I will finish working until here and then I will show you the connection. Okay guys, here we are. I did 16 herringbone stitches until here, and now the 17th is here, so I'm gonna take out the marker here and I'm gonna do a slip stitch. So insert the hook in the first stitch here. I will just do a slip stitch. Okay, so this is actually now my 17th stitch. So remember that now we have passed the first stitch of the beginning stitch. We have passed it now on this side. This is what the slip stitch does. On the return row, it passes the first stitch on this side, and on the front row, it passes the first stitch on the other side. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to do 1 chain, and I will turn my work now, and now I can work the front row of the herringbone stitch. So I need the yarn in the back now. Okay, so I'm going to work actually the first stitch of the round. So I am going to insert the hook in the first stitch, pull up a loop, and then this is the first stitch of the third round. Okay, so now the first stitch we have it on this side, and I'm going to crochet until I arrive at the marker here before this one. Until here I'm going to crochet in total, including this one, 17 herringbone stitches. And here we are, and now I have 17 stitches here, and now I'm gonna do the pattern for the corner here. So the pattern for this side over here, it is going to be 1 increase, put back the marker at the first stitch of the increase, and then in the next stitch 1 herringbone stitch. Okay, so this pattern over here, 1 increase herringbone stitch, 1 herringbone stitch, I will repeat 3 more times. Okay, you guys, here it is. I finished all the increases here, the pattern for the side, and now I'm going to continue crocheting 17 herringbone stitches until I arrive here, so the center stitches. On this side we are going to do the same pattern that we did here. Okay, and here it is. I finished this corner. So now I'm going to do the slip stitch with the first stitch of the round. So insert the hook at the first stitch and slip stitch. So remember that now we have passed the first stitch of the round on this side. So I'm going to do 1 chain. I will turn my work and I will keep the yarn in the front now, because I need to work with the yarn in the front. So work like this. So I will insert from the back to the front, yarn under, and pull the loop in the back, and 1 stitch, and this is actually the first stitch of the round. Okay, so this is actually the first stitch of the 17 stitches here. So as I told you, one time it passes on this side, and when we go back it passes on the other side. So now here I have the increases. So the pattern for the increases is going to be the first stitch, 2 herringbone stitches, 1 increase, and the next 2 stitches, 1 herringbone stitch on each stitch. Okay, this pattern over here, 1 increase, 2 herringbone stitches, we will repeat 3 more times. Okay guys, here it is. I finished the pattern until here. These are the increases plus 1 stitch of the beginning of the row. Okay, now we are just going to crochet 17 herringbone stitches until here, I guess, the center stitches. On this side we are just repeating the same pattern that we did here, and here we are. I finished the full pattern here, and I'm gonna do 16 herringbone stitches until here, because remember that we have the first stitch of this round on this side now. Okay, so I will continue until here, and here we are. I finished 16 herringbone stitches, and now I will take out the marker and I will connect with the first stitch of the row, insert the hook at the first stitch and slip stitch. And actually now we have passed the first stitch of the round on this side now. So I'm going to do 1 chain, and I will turn my work, and I am going to work on the front. So I am going to keep the yarn in the back. So the pattern, it is going to be 17 herringbone stitches until here. So insert the hook in the first stitch and 1 single crochet. Actually the first stitch is usually a single crochet, and put the marker, because this is the first stitch of the round, which has shifted now on this side. And now we are going to crochet another 16 herringbone stitches until here. And here we are. I have 17 herringbone stitches, the center stitches, and I'm gonna give you the pattern for the side pattern over here, which is first stitch 1 increase, put back the marker. For the next 3 stitches, 1 herringbone stitch on each. 3. Okay, so this pattern over here, I will repeat 3 more times. Okay guys, here it is. I finished the full pattern for one side. I am going to crochet 17 stitches with herringbone stitch here, the center stitches, and I'm just going to repeat the same pattern that I did here on this side over here. But of course you have to keep in mind that when you do the slip stitch here, the first stitch of the round switches over to this side, okay? And here it is, finished the full pattern for the second semicircle, okay? And I'm going to do the connection with the first stitch, which means that now for the next round, the first stitch will switch to this side. So I will just insert the hook in the first stitch like this, like normally, and do a slip stitch. I finished round number 5 and I'm just gonna continue. I guess now you understand the logic. I will do 1 chain and I will start to work backwards with the yarn in the front, okay? So you have to remember this, that when you work on this side, on the front side, the first stitch switches to this side. When you work on the back side, the first stitch switches to the beginning of the round, okay? So I will just lay for you the full pattern because this is the logic. You just keep the center stitches over here, they never change, and then you just have to do increases on this side. This pattern is the duplication of this pattern. So I'm gonna leave for you, until now I have 5 rounds. I'm gonna leave for you the rest of the rounds in the description box. Also, you can find it on my website page soon, and the full pattern. I will leave the pattern there, and then you can just keep crocheting by yourself, because this is the logic. Just the numbers over here change. Okay guys, here it is. I finished 19 rounds in total, okay? For these 19 rounds, of course, you're going to have the pattern. Just follow the pattern step by step as I told you. So the finished part is going to look like this. This one is going to be in the back and this part is going to be in the front. Okay, so I'm gonna just use it like this, and now we're gonna have to do this part over here. So for that part over here, we're just going to work half oval, okay? So let me tell you the pattern for the upper part over here. I am going to start with 8 chain stitches. 8. These are for the base and also 1 stitch for the turn, so 9 stitches in total. So I'm going to do in the next stitch 1 single crochet, and then in the second stitch I will start the herringbone stitch. So I will insert the hook in the first loop here, and then in the next stitch, and here I have the second stitch. Okay, so I will continue to do another herringbone stitch. Continue until you have 8 stitches. Okay, so once we arrive at the 8th one, I'm going to do here 3 more half double crochets in this stitch. So 1 we already did, so we need 7 and then 4 decreases, which means 1 I already did. I will do another 3. Two, 3 and 4. I'm gonna put a marker at the first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, at the first stitch of the 4 increases. So now I'm going on the way back, crocheting 7 herringbone stitches. So insert the hook in the next stitch, right here. Okay, so I did 1. Okay, here we are, and I have 7 stitches here, 4 increases, and then 7 stitches on this side. Now we'll go backwards. So the pattern for the second round is going to be 1 chain, turn your work, and we work from the back. Okay, so you keep the yarn in the front, it's more helpful like this, and insert the hook in the next stitch from the front to the back, pull up a loop, and then close the 2 loops. Okay, this is the first stitch, and now we work the herringbone stitch. So grab the second loop, insert the hook from the back to the front on the next stitch, and then yarn under and pull through all 3 stitches. So this is how we work the herringbone stitch. So we will work until we have 7 herringbone stitches, and then we will do the pattern for the semicircle over here. Here I have 7 herringbone stitches. So in the whole pattern, these stitches over here, like the center stitches, we always have 7, and also this part over here always will remain the same quantity of stitches. 7 herringbone stitches here and 7 herringbone stitches here. The pattern that will change with every round is just the semicircle here. So the pattern for the semicircle for the second round is going to be 1 increase. So in each stitch, 2 herringbone stitches. One, and in the same stitch, another one. We will repeat this 3 more times. For the next 3 stitches, we will have on each stitch 2 herringbone stitches. Okay, here we are, I finished. So now I'm gonna work the 7 stitches until the marker. Okay guys, here it is. I finished also the 7 stitches here. Now we are going to do 1 chain, turn your work, and we work from the front side now. Okay, so from the front side, we're just going to work the herringbone stitch. It's easier. So we are going to work 7 herringbone stitches until here. So in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and then this is actually the first stitch, so I will put the marker, and then in the second stitch, herringbone stitch, and I will crochet until I have 7. Okay, so once we have 7 herringbone stitches here, we will have the pattern for the semicircle. So the pattern is 1 decrease, which means 2 herringbone stitches in the first stitch, I will put back the marker in the first stitch, so I know where the decreases start, and then in the second stitch, 1 herringbone stitch. I will repeat this pattern 3 more times until I finish all the semicircle. Okay, here it is, the pattern, and I will crochet 7 herringbone stitches until I arrive at the end here. And here we are. I finished the 3rd round. I will start the 4th round. So 1 chain, turn your work, and now we work backwards. So I will put the yarn in the front, insert the hook from the back to the front in the first stitch, which is this one, like this, pull through and close the 2 loops. This is the first stitch, and I will work another 6 stitches, so in total with this stitch are 7 herringbone stitches. Okay, here we are, 7 herringbone stitches from the back, and now we are going to start the pattern for the semicircle, which is first stitch, 1 increase, for the next 2 stitches, 1 herringbone stitch on each. Okay, so this pattern we will repeat 3 more times, and then 7 herringbone stitches until the end. Okay, here we are, we finished the 4th round, so now we are going to work in the other side. So I'm gonna do 1 chain, turn my work, and I'm gonna work the herringbone stitch in the front. So I will work, the pattern is going to be 7 herringbone stitches until the marker. And here we are, and we start the pattern for the semicircle. 1 increase and 3 herringbone stitches in the next 3 stitches. I will repeat this pattern 3 more times and then the 7 stitches until the end. Okay guys, here it is. So I finished also the pattern for the 5th round. So you know more or less how the pattern works. We will just keep crocheting 7 herringbone stitches on this side and 7 on this side. The only numbers that change is this part over here. So I will leave for you the pattern right now for the rest of the rounds. So in total there are going to be 19 rounds, so we have the same amount of stitches with the back part. And I will meet you here once I finish the 19th round. Okay guys, here we are. I finished all 19 rounds. This is how it will look like. As you can see, you can check here. I will also leave some pictures once it's already in my website. And now I need to start the side part, which means that I'm not going to do any more increases. I am going to work another 6 rounds without increases. So the side part, it is going to be deeper, and then I can start the sewing with the back part. Okay, here it is. I finished another 6 rounds, 3 in the front and 3 in the back, because this is how we crochet herringbone stitch, right? I'm showing you now the 6 rounds that I did. Okay, so once you finish these 3 rounds, it will take this kind of shape, which is the depth of the bag. So now the next thing that I need to do is to have 1 row with single crochet on the top. So let me show you how am I going to do that. Okay, so now I will start to do for the upper part 1 row with a single crochet, and I will insert the hook right there where we have the connection between 2 rows of the herringbone stitch, and I will just crochet a very simple single crochet there. So that is what am I going to do for each row, 1 single crochet. Okay, here it is. I finished the 1 row with single crochet, and I will keep some yarn because I need to sew with a tapestry needle. So I will take the back part, and then on top of that I will sew the front part, just like this. But before I do that, I will have to put some markers so I don't mistake the places of sewing. So I count where were the increases and put some markers there. So once the markers are done, I will start to sew, and I am going to sew in a way that it will look like a continuation of the herringbone stitch. Okay guys, so I am going to insert actually the yarn from the underneath of the first stitch, because I want to have this kind of not straight stitch. Okay, you have to do your own stitch because I cannot exactly recommend you the way, but it has not to be straight. Okay, so you see how am I going to insert the hook, the tapestry needle, so it gives this not straight loop, and it looks like the continuation of a herringbone stitch. So I'm going to do that for all the stitches one by one until the end.
Okay guys, so here it is. This is the finished one. Sorry, I put something inside here. Let me take out. This is how it will look like. Okay, and now I just want to put some accessories. I think I'm going to do some lining inside, and I'm going to put the rings like this. I will drop the links in the description box. Here I also am going to put this one. and also this shoulder strap. I will put all the links to the materials in the description box. And let me show you how it looks like.